We are getting brand new reports now. One dead, at least 25 wounded after an attack at an American University of Afghanistan in Kabul. Witnesses say they heard gunshots, an explosion. Teachers and hundreds of students took cover in classrooms as police and special forces surrounded the campus. The attack coming 2 weeks after two university professors were kidnapped by unknown gunmen, and their whereabouts are still unknown. Melissa.
Vice President Biden arriving in Turkey this morning. He is meeting with leaders there in a show of U.S. support following last month's violent coup attempt. The visit also comes as U.S. and Turkish forces launch a major operation against ISIS in northern Syria near the Turkish border. U.S. conducting several air strikes throughout the day today.
So there's a whole lot going on. How does the next president respond to all of this? Here now is KT McFarland, Fox News national security analyst. KT, have you ever seen so many foreign policy wrecks facing a new president in your life?
No, not in my lifetime. I mean, this is a train wreck, and pick your continent. It's a disaster everywhere. Europe is kind of falling apart.
What scares you the most, right? I mean, because we do have the Russian reset didn't go so well. China's in the South China Sea. This continent has problems in Venezuela after we coddled Maduro and his predecessors. I mean, where's there more tension than anywhere else right
I think there are three things. One is the reset with Russia and the potential for miscalculation, that if the Russians try to overreach and then we calculate that we should respond to them. So that's number one, and that's the most immediate threat, which could happen within the next several months, several weeks, several years. The second one, though, is the medium threat, which is, I think, the nuclearization of the Middle East. Iran is on track to get nuclear weapons. Iran is the hegemonic power in the region. If Iran gets nuclear weapons, or if it looks like it's going to get nuclear weapons, others in the region will respond by getting nuclear weapons of their own. And then in the most dangerous part of the world, where they shouldn't even be allowed to play with matches, they're going to potentially have nuclear weapons. And then the long-term threat to the United States, I think, comes from China. A more militant China, a more aggressive China, a China just about to achieve its world ambitions to replace the United States, and then its economy starts slowing. So that's a China that I think looks at the United States.
A wounded animal is a dangerous
Absolutely.
animal. Now, a lot of these problems, of course, would have happened regardless of who the U.S. president. But I think of certain things that happened. For example, the famous Arab Spring back in 2011, 2012, where we purposely supported the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. We have a piece today in the Wall Street Journal by an Egyptian official saying that some of these Muslim Brotherhood folks are still around, were empowered by our support for them, and are causing all kinds of mischief all over the Middle East now because of that.
Yeah, and I think it's actually the Obama administration and the Bush administration made the same mistake. They'll never admit that they made the same mistake, but the way I look at it is they both went around toppling dictators with no idea what would happen next, whether it was toppling dictators in Afghanistan.
Like nothing will be worse than so-and-so, and of course something worse comes up.
It always is. Exactly, and particularly in the Middle East. I mean, Libya is now jihadi chaos in Benghazi. Egypt has a threat from radical extremists that it did not have before. Radical Islam is growing throughout the region, and it may potentially even go to Saudi Arabia.
KT, we have to go, but you teased me before we came on. You said you're still optimistic. Why?
I think the United States is on the verge of an economic renaissance. If we bring the tax money back to the United States, invest in infrastructure and new industries, and we would be doing that as the rest of the world has real difficulty.
Okay, KT McFarland, still optimistic despite all the problems. Thank you, KT.
Happy warrior.
Yeah.